Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is for you. Welcome to the Daily Present. My name is John Ball. If we're friends, you can call me Johnny. Hey, call me Johnny anyway. It's fine. So I wonder if you ever read superhero comics when you were growing up, or you loved those films. I know I was obsessed with them when I was a kid, and I read just about all of them. My favorite was definitely Superman. That the first film I ever remember seeing in the cinema was the Superman film with Christopher Reeve. So not the more recent ones, and it blew my mind, the idea that you could fly and save people and help people and make a difference. And so today, that's what I want to talk about. Superpowers. Welcome to the Daily Present. Okay, well, great to have you with us. If you're joining me live today, it's really good to see you. And this is something I am going to be doing more regularly, or in fact daily. That's why I'm calling it the Daily Present. And I'm here to talk about presentation skills, the tools of influence and persuasion, and much more besides as well. And today I'm really kind of talking about my backstory, because what really led me to where I am today. And in a way, I think superheroes and comic book stories had a lot to do with it, because I so badly wanted to be a superhero. When I was a kid, I wanted to be someone who could fly around and save people from trouble and stop crimes and all this kind of thing, save the world and be that person who could make a difference, like rescue a cat from a tree and pull someone from a burning building, all those kinds of things that the superheroes do in the comic books, and ultimately save the world. That was really important to me. So I pretty much grew up with that internal desire of wanting to be someone who could save people. When I got a bit older, I think I realized that there was more to it. It wasn't just that I wanted to have superpowers and help people. I think there was actually a bit more to it. And so I definitely wanted to be Superman, and Spider-Man was another favorite, and the Flash. Those were probably my favorite, and Green Lantern, I think, was a big one as well. All these superheroes who would go fly around the world saving people. And so that's pretty much who I wanted to be. So it doesn't surprise me too much that I ended up at some point in my life going into coaching, where I could potentially have the ability to help people and make a difference. And I think what I realized when I first got into coaching fairly quickly, it was that I think I'd gotten into coaching because I wanted to save people. I wanted to be the savior. I wanted to be the person who could help them, and the one who they're like, oh, thank you. I was in such a bad place and you rescued me. And it maybe took me about 3 to 6 months of initially starting off working as a coach to realize that wasn't actually a very healthy mindset to be coming from, and that I wasn't there to help them. And this was perhaps a difficult realization for me as a coach, and maybe if any of you do any kind of coaching or consulting as well, you might have a similar appreciation for this. That it became about understanding that a lot of that was my own desire for significance, that I wanted to feel worthy, valuable, that I was making a difference, and I wanted to be recognized and seen for that, which in itself isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it wasn't a healthy place for that kind of relationship, that where I was setting myself up as someone who could save people and turn their lives around for them. And that was me taking on responsibility for something really I discovered they have to do for themselves. So my role, I realized, was one that initially maybe even resisted against a bit, of being the person who empowers other people to help themselves. And ultimately, that meant that as someone who works in coaching, you are the person who hopefully they thank you, but they might not, for the help they've had along the journey. But what they should do, and how you know when you've done a good job, is when people feel like they've done it themselves, because they have. You've only assisted, you've maybe given them some resources or some encouragement, or just the support and being that presence and sounding board for them, to help them get what they needed to find the resources within themselves. So that was what I realized was the challenge, that maybe I might have actually initially got into coaching for the wrong reasons, and because it was about me. and not about them and not about helping other people. It kind of was. It kind of was that as well. But it was very much from a sort of ego and needing that significance of recognition kind of phase. And once I was able to let go of that, it made a huge difference to how I was able to coach. And even now, it's sort of thing. It's like, well, you still can end up feeling sometimes a little bit on the sidelines as a coach. Like when you work with someone, if they do really well, they should hopefully feel like it was them who did it, not the coach who did it for them. And so if you're feeling like that it's your coach or someone else who saved you, that's actually pretty disempowering, because that says you couldn't do it. You couldn't do it without someone else doing it for you or pulling you through. It's like, it's perfectly fine to get help, and I encourage people to get help, but ultimately to recognize, if you get a coach and you don't do the work yourself, you're not going to see results. I mean, that's just a reality in life, right? And if you get a coach and you do put in the work and you do really commit to following through the process and you're hungry for growth and development, you will see massive results. And that's nearly always, I would say, what I notice in clients who I work with as to perhaps what's the biggest difference between people who get big results and people who don't. The people who get big results, they're kind of hungry for it. They have an idea of what they want to move towards. And they also have a very clear sense of, if they don't do the work, that they're not going to see that as well. So they take responsibility for it. They know they have to take action, and they accept that, and they do. They come back, they report, they stay accountable, and they move stuff forward. And they know they're doing it themselves, and they acknowledge and appreciate that there's some guidance, there's some help, there's some a chance to bounce things around and talk through ideas as they move forward, and get some support and encouragement along the way as well. So that can be very challenging for a coach, because ultimately, that as a coach, you have to think. I ended up thinking, like, do I really want superpowers? Like, would I really like to be able to fly? Yeah, I think it would be pretty cool. So I wanted to have like Superman sort of powers, kind of thing, or Flash, to be able to run really fast. So I liked the idea of flying or being able to zip around, and just think it would be fun. And of course, you could probably do a lot of good. But ultimately, what I realized as being the real superpower of a coach is being able to help other people and make a difference, and help them to empower themselves to go on, that they come away stronger, not reliant on you, but stronger in themselves, and able to go out and do more things and make a bigger difference in the reward. So I think I recognized that one of my gifts as a coach was being able to help people empower themselves. And also, if I had a superpower, if I sort of say, well, what's my superpower? I would say, one of them is being able to ask some really good questions. Like, I really listen. So listening, that's super hearing. That would be one of my superpowers. I think I'm really good at listening to people, and certainly any coach should have that as a superpower as well. But being able to ask really good questions is also a superpower, and being able to help people to help themselves. I think that's probably the most important thing, because I don't think people actually need saving so much. In maybe sort of a life and death situation, you have the opportunity, yeah, you should definitely do that. But in most of life, people don't really need saving. They just need the resources and the strength, and sometimes the support and encouragement to save themselves and to get out of where they need to be. And I think for many coaches and people who I work with, one of the things that they end up feeling is that they have a superpower that perhaps they don't want, which is like the gift of invisibility, and not being seen, or people not really sort of hearing or not being recognized. And I think that's something that I decided that, I think that can feel very disempowering for coaches and professionals. If you don't actually feel that people are seeing you, or you don't feel that you're getting any recognition or reward for what you do, or you're not really being noticed. So that's where I've been shifting my work to helping coaches and presenters become more visible, to be more heard, and to step out. And sometimes there's a lot of fear around that as well for people, of just being seen and stepping up from the background, and instead of just being one of the backing singers, actually being the lead singer of the group and in the spotlight, so that you actually do get noticed and you get heard. There can be many reasons why people feel afraid to do that, and and one of the things that I think can really help with that is getting some clarity around what you want to say and who you want to say it to, and really being able to move from this sort of fear or feeling like you have to blend into the wallpaper or not put your head above the parapet for it getting lopped off, the tall poppy syndrome kind of thing. Those things are out there, but if the people that you want to help, if the difference that you want to make in the world matters enough to you, you have to be prepared to put yourself in that position where you're willing to risk putting yourself out there, getting criticized, probably going to happen, and having some negativity come back to you as well. And I've certainly experienced that over the years, and sometimes it's even held me back. I think maybe the first time, some of my clients will know because I sometimes talk about this, but the first time I ever put out a video of me on YouTube, it was like a promotional thing for some coaching that I was doing. And this is like earlier days of YouTube, where like now you post something on YouTube, you probably like the first video you put up, probably no one's going to see it unless you actually tell them you've already got a following. And so the first video you put up, no one's really going to see it, no one's really going to notice it. But these days, in the earlier days, pretty much anything you posted up was going to get some eyes. It was going to get viewed. Now there's so much content. We're talking years later. So the first responses that I got were some really heavy trolling. It was really very unpleasant. And that put me off doing anything on YouTube for quite a while afterwards. And so I ended up having to come back to it. But even for myself, it was a point of having to recognize that the difference I want to make, the people who I want to help and make a difference with, and my ability to help people make change in their lives and help people step up and be heard and have their message heard and be a voice in their industry. That was something that meant more to me than having to deal with some unpleasant comments or criticism from time to time, or some of the trolls that might be out there. What makes a bigger difference to me, and what makes it worth it, and what makes me able to withstand some of the negativity that inevitably comes back to people once you put yourself out there, was saying, actually, the most of the feedback I get is positive. That's probably going to be the case for most people. If you're doing something good, putting out good into the world, most of the feedback you get is going to be positive, and there's always going to be some negativity out there as well. It's hard sometimes to remember for yourself that it's not about you. It is about them. It's like that negativity, the criticism, it says far more about them than it really does about you. But it's really hard not to take it personally. So that really needs to be a superpower to develop as well, of not taking things personally, and being able to have the criticism bounce off. But for me, the thing that makes it easier to weather all of that is knowing that what I'm doing is more important to me. What I'm doing and who I help matters more to me than having my feelings hurt or taking something personally. Because that's inevitable. When you do anything, you're going to get criticized. However good it is, there's going to be someone who doesn't like it, or someone who thinks you're the pits, and someone who just has to tell you how much they don't like it. So it's really vital to just get yourself to that position of understanding who you want to help, why you want to help them, and making that as big and powerful as you possibly can for yourself. In my group coaching calls with clients, I'll often talk about the flames of desire, not in any sort of sexual sense here, but really just in a sense of your energy, your burning desire, the Napoleon Hill burning desire theme in Think and Grow Rich, for those of you who've read that. And that, and I heard this put really nicely from one of my podcast guests not that long ago, that if your flame of desire is kind of just burning embers or just a small flame, when the winds of challenge, when the winds of trolls and criticism come and blow on that fire, it's probably going to get blown out. But if you actually stoke that fire and you build it up and put more logs on and nurture the flame and get it burning bright and strongly for yourself, when those criticisms come, when the winds of trolls and criticism start to blow on your flame of desire, it's not going to blow it out. It's actually going to turn it up. It's actually going to burn harder, because when the wind blows on a big fire, it doesn't put it out. It just actually increases it. It stokes it even further. And I think that's really the case. These sort of the negativity that comes back is often just a sign that you are actually doing something that is affecting people. And in fact, it would be worse to not get anything back at all. So the fact that you might get any feedback at all is actually a good thing. It's affecting somebody, even if it's not in the way that you might have hoped. But if you only put out stuff that everybody should like, you're going to be really bland. Nobody's going to really want to pay attention to that. It's you are going to be a sort of voice in the wind of 1,000 voices. No one's going to be able to discern you from anyone else, and no one's going to care. So it is, to some degree, having a willingness to be able to be not divisive, perhaps, but at least be willing to be polarizing in some way, shape, or form. Not that you want people to turn against each other, kind of polarizing, but for that it doesn't matter if people like you, that you can be authentically you, and for people who like you, that's going to be great. They're going to be your tribe. And for people who don't, you're not for them. That's fine. Some of them may feel the need to tell you that, and that's fine as well. But it's hard to get yourself to being okay with that. But when you build up your tribe, when you get the people who you are helping, those challenges, those criticisms that start to come at you are only going to make your fires burn even brighter. So I have a question for you. And I'd like to know, if you were going to have a superpower, what would your superpower be? So what's your superpower? Whether or maybe you feel that you already have one. So what is your superpower? And so I've already told you mine. My superpowers are listening, asking really good questions, and I would say as well, being able to help people realize and recognize that they can help themselves, and hopefully also feel great once they've done some work with me, and to have their voice heard by other people. So yeah, that's quite a few. I'm recognizing for myself, I might have more superpowers than I thought. But what are your superpowers? I'd like to know. So type into the comment box what your superpower is, or what you would like it to be, and I'd be very interested to hear. So I'll be back with more of these things, more daily presents for you. But I hope you've enjoyed this little bit of me rambling about superpowers and coaching people and everything like that this morning. It's been fun. It's been fun chatting to you, and I'll look forward to speaking with you again tomorrow. So join me again tomorrow. Find me online or catch the replay. And I'll see you then. So remember, if you're watching on YouTube, give us a like, give us a subscribe. It really helps to make a difference. And if you want to stay updated and catch me regularly, so don't just click the like button and subscribe. Also hit that bell button, and you'll get updated for all the latest videos, and also when I'm going live as well. So I'll look forward to seeing with you and connecting with you again very soon. All right, have a great rest of your day. I'll see you again tomorrow, and take care.